Gaming and technology are the talk of the party here with EloTalk.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of EloChat, the podcast where we talk about what's new in gaming, technology, and culture. Again, it is me, your host, Justin, and actually, before we get started on today's episode of the podcast, I just want to update everyone about how the show is going to look from now on. We did a little bit of research and development, and we decided that we wanted to kind of change the format of how EloChat would work, and we're actually partnering up with other podcast hosts who have their own pet projects, and we're going to be cycling people in and having them join me on EloChat to talk about their opinions and thoughts about things that are going on and what we normally talk about here on the podcast. So those podcasts, and we'll talk about our guests here in a bit, but those podcasts are What the Fet, we have Scry 3, we have The Last Episode, All Things Media, Ritual Misery, and No Attendance Policy. All the hosts from those podcasts will be kind of cycling through as we do more episodes of EloChat. And like I said, just having a nice conversation with me and catching up on what's been going on in their circles and what they their opinions and thoughts about what's developing in the world of gaming. So for this episode, this first one, I'm joined by Jamison and Louis. Do you guys want to introduce yourself, talk about what podcast you host, give everyone a little feel for who you are?
Sure, I guess I'll go first. My name is Jamison. I am a co-host on No Attendance Policy. It's a podcast. Kind of just goes over some movies, TV, gaming, music, kind of just the basic media stuff every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It's a lot of fun, and just check it out. Don't want to take too much time because you can find it on iTunes along with all these other excellent podcasts. But I'll pass this one over and let Louis take the wheel.
Hey guys, my name is Louis, and I host The Last Episode with my friend Jesus, and our podcast is super casual, kind of wacky, talking about gaming, nerd culture, movies, anime, manga, stuff like that. So you can find us also podcast section of iTunes, the last episode.podbean.com. You can go there too, but iTunes is probably the easiest place to go. But yeah, that's about it.
Oh man. You said you talk about anime, man. I could write a book. Like,
dude, yeah, we
too
talk
much.
about anime all the time.
We need to talk about what you watched in the season, because let me tell you, there's some good stuff that's happening. And I love it. Well, thank you guys for joining me on this episode. The first one, you guys are kind of like the guinea pigs. How do you feel? Doing okay? Feeling all right?
I think I feel
the people are
fun.
listening. They're not judging yet.
Not yet.
Yet, keyword.
Not yet. They might, but I'm sure it'll be fine. We'll be good. So, as I said, we're going to have people kind of joining us and going over topics. So, next month, in April, we're going to be kind of doing a look back on March and kind of catching up on big events that happened in March and kind of getting a general feel for how people think things are going. We're give us some projections, their opinions, and that'll kind of be the new format for EloChat from here on out. And I'm looking forward to it, so I hope you are too. And again, thanks to all those hosts from all those podcasts for joining us on this project. You can find their work on iTunes, and we will be soon updating EloTalk, the website, with all of their information so you can find them easier in a central location. So, with all that being said, there is something big happening tomorrow. It's a very big... I should take time off work for this because this is a big event, and I think you know what I'm talking about. I hope you know what I'm talking about. Just someone guess. Just guess.
Is it, ooh.
It's tough.
Dang. It might, I forgot.
Is it nerdy?
I don't know. It might be like, it starts with like an N and then like an S or something. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, they're coming back out with the NES. I'm so excited.
Yes, that was it. Yes.
The NES2. Is that what they're
Trick
calling
me
it?
again. No,
Classic.
Nintendo releasing the Switch finally tomorrow, and I have so many feelings. And I think the biggest reason that I have so many feelings is because they're releasing a Zelda title as one of their launch titles, which is pretty big. I mean, one of the core franchises. This is a huge step in a different direction for the franchise, and it's been getting already like fantastic reviews. So I'm trying not to hype myself up more than I already am. But
Yeah.
how does everyone feel? What do you think? Is it going to go well? Is it going to go bad? What does it look like?
I mean, for one, I'm stoked because Zelda is by far my favorite franchise just of all time. And it's annoying because I'm getting hyped and I'm not even going to be getting one right away.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like salty. But like one of my favorite Zelda games, obviously Ocarina of Time is always going to be number one, but I really loved Wind Waker. And so to kind of go back to that art style and to like get that cell shaded graphic thing going on. And this game just looks gorgeous. Like I've been watching gameplay for the past few days, revisiting the trailer, and dude, like to start off a launch with a Zelda game on this new console, the Wii U is kind of controversial for me personally. And so to see Nintendo coming back with a Switch and then drop it with a Zelda title, it just gets me super, super pumped.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm really glad that you enjoy Wind Waker, because I don't find a lot of people that enjoy Wind Waker. It's kind of one of those games that you love it or hate it in a lot of my experiences with people. So I'm always glad to find people that love that kind of, I don't know, that return to like a sense of adventure for Zelda.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of the central driving theme of the games. So having people that really understand that Wind Waker is more about, it's past the art. Like, yes, the art is very different, but delving into the game and kind of understanding the central themes and mechanics and how it works, that's exciting. And I think that that's going to be repeated in Breath of the Wild, especially because, you know, rumor has it that this is a part of the Wind Waker timeline. So that's exciting to kind of see it stick to the theme of the timeline as well. But what do you think, Louis? What are your thoughts?
I'm super excited for the Switch in general. I have a Vita. Like, I've always been interested in portable gaming. Like, I have a Vita. I've had both models of the Vita, both models of the Vita. I've had a PSP. So I got the PSP a week after it came out. So, like, these types of handheld console type gaming stuff has always been interesting to me. So when I heard of the NX and then the Switch eventually when it was announced that it was going to be a portable console, I was like, I don't know, this seems kind of sketchy, but so far it seems like it's going to deliver on most, if not all, their promises. I'm a little skeptical on battery and games, but you know, with Zelda, for sure, like that's a huge one. I played a lot of Zelda. Minish Cap is actually one of my favorites, which is not a lot of people's favorites, but it's one of mine. I don't know why. It's just really weird and fun. But
I'm actually playing through that right now.
It's
Awesome.
It's so cool. But other, like, there's not a lot of I don't see a lot of those types of games yet for the Switch. It's really early. The thing isn't even out yet, but you know, I'm skeptical with a happy face, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, no, and that makes sense because, I mean, looking at the launch titles for the Wii U, I think the only one that had pretty positive reviews was Zombie U. And that was a really weird title for the Wii U to launch on, because I'm looking over this list, and I don't think they released any big franchise games upon launch. I don't know if anyone else remembers differently, but I don't think they did.
I don't believe they did either. I'm trying to think back on if I'm missing anything, but like I said, it doesn't seem to have like this sort of hype with the Switch, like the Switch does. And I don't remember them dropping anything, at least on like a Mario and Zelda type like level, for sure. So
yeah, I think one thing to kind of look out for too is seeing, because they had such a, you know, I'm a Nintendo fanboy. I'll admit that right off the bat, and everywhere. You can even find that on my about page on EloTalk now. It's there. But Wii U's launch was pretty bad, and to see Nintendo rebound with something like this, like of this magnitude, with a game that we've been waiting for a while. I mean, I'm pretty confident that the Switch will do well. I mean, wasn't there reports that they were running out of pre-orders for the Switch already. Like,
yeah, that doesn't surprise me with Nintendo, honestly. Like,
right. I mean, and they do so well with families too. I mean, they just have such an all-encompassing audience that they're able to have that kind of market approach. So it's really cool seeing them succeed. At least for me.
I see it's when you mention the family thing, like the all-encompassing console, like that's what is super interesting about the Switch. It seems to be like everything that all of these new consoles of this generation have tried to, like the Xbox One when it was coming out, they were saying like this is going to be your home entertainment console, like everything you need. And then PS4's whole deal was like all of your games, all like we have indie games and AAA games and exclusives like that. And then Wii U was like all family games and whatever, and all 3 games that are on the Wii U because no one plays the Wii U anymore, I feel like. But I feel like the Switch seems to be a good middle ground of all of that. And like I said, if it can deliver, it might be one of the best consoles ever because it's the most versatile for sure.
Yeah. I still really enjoy the meme of when they were showing that initial commercial where that girl was going to like a birthday party with the Switch pad and her name became Karen. And I just love that idea of like, Karen, can you please leave your Switch at home? Like, we're trying to enjoy each other's company. Like, that's totally me, though. I mean,
oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's me with my Vita.
Yeah, see? And especially if they release games like Pokemon on the Switch, I'm trying to think of like other big ones that would just be I mean,
I'm excited for Sonic Mania, honestly. Like to be able to just in general that game, but I'm probably gonna end up getting the Switch, and when I do, I will be getting Sonic Mania on it. Like, and that's gonna be the game I probably play the most because I'm a huge Sonic fanboy, and those types of old school games I've been wanting forever. Sonic 4 was the closest thing we got to it, but that felt watery and weird. So this game, man, that's what I'm excited for the Switch, honestly, is to be able to play Sonic on the game like that.
That does look pretty fun. I know for me too, Monster Hunter on the Wii, I almost said Wii U, on the Switch. Yes, please. Like,
most definitely.
We need a Monster Hunter on the Switch. And if Capcom suddenly pulls like a 360 and just is like, oh, by the way, Double Cross is coming out for the Switch, I'm dropping everything. Like, I'm canceling all of my payments for anything. Like, I don't care about rent. I'm getting a Switch. Like, that would be incredible. Or like Trauma Center. Can we have another Trauma Center game, please? That would be great. I don't know if anyone plays those. I love those games. But the lineup for the launch titles looks pretty good. I mean, I'm really excited to see Nintendo reaching out to the third-party developers. I'm really excited to see them kind of growing that market for people to kind of be able to contribute to the Nintendo library. I do think, just going back on what Louis said about battery life for especially the tablet, that's a little concerning to me. I'm wondering how portable the game is if the battery life is only 3 hours.
Well, so reviews have been in this last week, and I have some information based off reviews that I've seen. Apparently, it doesn't even people have had problems. So when it's docked and playing Zelda, it won't charge past like 71% while it's playing. You have to kind of stop playing for it to charge fully. And this could be an early release issue. Maybe it'll be fixed with the day one patch, or it'll be fixed later. But it seems like the battery is like the biggest thing right now that this thing has on it.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern too, because I mean, for the most part, I'm going to be playing this whenever I get one as a console, just because to get that full Zelda experience, I want to be playing on the TV, taking it everywhere, just isn't necessarily going to be my thing. But if I wanted to, 3 hours, that's not really a whole lot. Like, really what I would use it for is like if I wanted to go move and get comfortable on the couch somewhere, then I could take it. But, if it was like an 8 hour battery life mobile, then we'd be getting somewhere. But and I don't know if certain games will just drain it much quicker. I would imagine Zelda would be, but like a Shovel Knight, for instance, because that game looks excellent. I wonder if taking that could do maybe a little bit better mobily. I don't know, but 3 hours does concern me. That's one of the things that kind of sticks out right now.
Yeah, well, and especially because in their commercials, they were branding it as a like travel companion. So, I mean, if you're taking a long flight from where I live, Portland area, to like New York, that's a long flight. And you know, if you're depending on your Switch tablet to last the entire flight, well, you only have a limited option of games that will last that long. Like, you can't play Zelda for an entire flight because your thing will die. But I think one small remedy, at least, is that you can charge it on the go as well. So if you have like a mobile battery pack, you can charge it at least. So that's at least a small saving grace in my mind. But that's, you know, something else to kind of add to the carrying weight of a Switch.
Well, the thing with the portable thing, so the Switch charges with USB-C, which is awesome. I talk about all the time with my friends how USB-C is like the coolest thing to me. No one agrees with me, but I think it's awesome. And I'm so glad that USB-C is coming on the Switch because it's really cool. But the Switch needs a lot of power, and most portable battery banks don't supply like 15 volts at a cheap battery banks usually don't supply that. So you won't be charging this thing and playing it at the same time on the go. That just won't happen. And even if when you're charging it, it'll still take a long time to charge. Like, I've heard some people say that from 0 to 100, like just on the dock itself, takes about 3 hours to charge, which is crazy. Like, wow. My Vita charges in like an hour from 0 to 100. And that's what I love about my Vita so much. It has like 5 hours of battery for playing Borderlands 2, which I play mostly on my Vita. And if it's dying, I was like, oh, let me just charge it. I can play and charge at the same time, and it's pretty much fully charged in about an hour and a half. Like, and I understand the Switch is definitely way more powerful than a Vita, but I want to be able to play my games for longer than 3 hours, 2.5 hours.
Right.
Because I will be mainly playing this thing on portable, because I like portable. To me is the coolest part of gaming, at least.
Well, and I think we also need to give credit where credit is due, and realize like this is the first big console that has even a companionship travel option.
Right.
So, and for Nintendo, who is not known for their technological prowess, because let's face it, like they don't optimize their technology very well. This is a huge step in a lot of directions, technologically speaking, gameplay speaking, audience speaking, marketing speaking. There's a lot of really big steps, and it's really interesting seeing how, because I think people kind of had this feeling during Wii U phase, and I don't know, I kind of had this feeling too, that Nintendo wasn't really doing anything super innovative anymore. That it was like, yeah, the Wii U was kind of cool, but they just didn't have the big marketing oomph that they had with the Wii. And so having that option available to them with the Switch, and taking those steps forward with their advertising, with the way that they're making it, with all their technology. I mean, granted, there's going to be shortfalls, and there's definitely going to be some mistakes along the way because it's Nintendo, but I think understanding like where they're coming from is really cool.
Yeah, to be like the first console to wear two hats, kind of in a way where you can, play on your TV in your living room, take it mobily, even with the battery life stuff. That's definitely like a next level that Nintendo, like they took that first leap kind of with the Wii, bringing in the motion controls kind of to the mainstream. And there wasn't a whole lot with the Wii U that really changed, that kind of broke new ground. But to have this, even with its flaws, like I gotta give them respect for, even with the shortcomings of battery life, to make a console like this, obviously much more powerful than any handheld device. But to be wearing two hats like that, there's got to be, something to say about that, which I think is really cool.
Real quick, I want to say I agree with you. Yeah, this is super innovative for Nintendo, because I feel like the Wii was just a total flop, and most people agree with me on that. Not a total flop, but in compared to the Wii, it's just it can't even compare. Like, it's so off. But Sony actually, in my opinion, was the first ones to do this companion thing with the Vita, because the whole idea with the PS3 and the Vita was that you can stream your games from your PS3 to your Vita and was able to play those from wherever, as long as you had good Wi-Fi. The problem with that is no one has good Wi-Fi enough to play that, and there were no games on the Vita, and the whole Vita lifeline was odd and stuff. But I think that Sony kind of was the first one to have that idea of like, oh, let's do like a portable console. And Nintendo was like, oh yeah, that's cool. Let's expand on that completely and do exactly that, a portable console. And in my opinion, I think they're going to succeed, hopefully.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to the launch, which, I mean, at the time of this recording will be in 4 hours. 4 or 5 hours. So, best of luck to Nintendo from me, a loyal fanboy. I'm really excited. And I cannot wait to get my hands on one. I'm so excited. I'm so ready.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, and also, like the price point for it, I think is, pretty solid. Like, I think the Wii U is still floating around for about that same price.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would definitely be willing to pay like $300 for something like especially if it pans out. Like, I would pay $300 alone just for Zelda. Like, if I'm being completely honest. But to have something like this where I can take it places, I can play it at home, and it definitely looks like graphically it's a step up from what we've had in the past. I think $300 is a pretty solid price point, even though I'm not gonna be able to swing it quite yet. It's definitely, I'm glad that they're not launching it like a $400 price point like Nintendo probably would have in the past, just because it's such a popular thing. So I do like that it's floating in a pretty reasonable budget.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be perusing the Nintendo stocks, seeing how they're doing, and seeing how many units they sold, because I have a feeling that we're gonna see some pretty good numbers from them tomorrow morning. So I'm excited.
Think so. It might be another. I mean, who knows? It might be another Wii situation where all stores are sold out for like weeks. Like,
don't say that.
It could be. I'm just saying.
That was a nightmare.
It could be that big of a deal.
I'm like seriously contemplating getting one, so I really don't. I mean, maybe it would be good if everyone went out of stock for a couple weeks, because then I would like chill.
Yeah.
Actually think about budgeting like an adult for like 2 minutes. But yeah, let's not do that. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It's kind of one of those unwritten chapters. But I know that we were talking about like third-party developers, and I kind of want to return to developing in this kind of day and age where Nintendo's opening their doors to third-party developers. We had Sony talk about third-party developers, and now we have Steam, who has done a lot for third-party developers. Probably too much, I'd argue, because their library is currently a mess. But that's probably a topic for a different time. But they recently talked about how they're changing Greenlight. And for those of you who don't know, Greenlight was the system on Steam where developers would basically submit a game idea to the community. And if they got enough support and votes for their project, they would then work with Steam to kind of develop a timeline to get their game released to the general public for sale. And I think this happened back in like 2009, 2004. I don't remember. It was quite a while ago. 2012. When was it?
2012, I believe.
Oh, it was 2012. Okay. Wow, yeah. That wasn't that long ago. I don't know what year it is anymore, actually. That's the thing. For me at least, I think it definitely opened the doors for a lot of developers to kind of get a feel on how to market their product, how to kind of work with the public, get their voice out, and kind of have a solid platform to have a reliable source of interactive audience members to get their game out into possibly the market. I can understand that it was probably frustrating to work with because, when the vote cycle ends, okay, so how long does voting take? Well, my project needs to be done in X amount of days. I don't even know if I can continue working on my project while the community is voting on it. I don't know if I have a secure budget. I don't know if I have secure staff. I don't know if I can even pay for this during like a downtime of a voting period. I can see that there's kind of barriers there, and I think that that was kind of the idea with them revamping Greenlight, and now they're going to do a completely different system, and kind of take it to a different kind of level where the developer works directly with Steam first, and kind of get their ideas on the market in a different, more contractual way. I don't know if you guys have ever talked or worked with developers or anything like that. I know that when I at least go to events like PAX, I know that marketing is a huge part of if a project basically lives or dies. So with the removal of Greenlight and the introduction of a new system, do you think that developers are being supported through Steam? Or do you think that they're going to be have a hard time trying to get their games off the ground?
I have a lot of opinions on Greenlight.
Okay.
In general, yeah. So the new system that you're talking about, it's called Steam Direct. It's targeted for spring 2017. The idea, yeah, like you were saying, it's developers working with human beings that work for Steam instead of human beings that are in the wild, wild west of the gaming world, just random Joe Schmo. It's a more official way for developers to get games on the market instead of anyone, hey, I have an idea for a game that might be garbage. Let's put it up there and let's see if you vote for it. No? Okay. Well, there's like 3 votes. I'll put it up anyways. And then it's, yeah, and that's legitimately how Greenlight worked. And just go to the Steam store right now and try to find, let's go through like indie games and just try to find like
good
20 games that are good. Like it's a mess. The Steam store is a goddamn mess because of Greenlight. Things like sites like G2A and Green Man Gaming and CD Keys, who do like random Steam code bundles where you can pay like $1 and you'll get a random Steam code. You will always get a pile of garbage because there are too many games on Steam. The odds of you getting a good game is so low because there's too much. So the idea with Steam Direct is, hey, let's work together, you and me, Steam, and me, the developer, to make a game that's actually good and people will want and won't just be adding to the noise, because that's what Steam is turning into. It's just a bunch of noise. And
yeah. Well, it
Uh,
sounds like someone's a little bit passionate about this.
I am so passionate. Well, for me, because I ditched consoles a year ago, almost a year and a half ago, and I am solely PC gaming, pretty much, pretty much, yeah, solely PC gaming. So Steam is kind of where I live, and if the games if it's hard to get games on the thing that I spent over $1,000 on to play games, it's kind of frustrating because I spent $1,200 on my PC and I want to get some good games. Oh, where are they? I don't know. They're in there somewhere. You got to kind of dig though, and it's not fun.
Yeah. I actually took your advice, and I'm looking at some of the indie games right now, and hoo boy.
I'm telling you, man.
I feel like some people have an understanding of what art assets are, but I have a feeling that some people don't. So that's interesting.
What you can't make an asset in Google Paint or Microsoft Paint,
or like what a clean edit of a image is. That's an interesting idea. Maybe people should try that. I don't know.
Yeah, and I like the idea of free market and people just like, hey, I have an idea for a game. Let's make it. That's cool to me. Like, I like that. I like that people now in this day and age can make what they want. And I just think that you're allowed to make what you want. That's good. I want you to. It'll help the market. But make it good and help and get help from someone like Steam who kind of knows what they're doing, like Valve, amazing game company. Like they don't have a lot of games, but those games are so good. They make money off of CS:GO, which came out in like 2013 or something, and they haven't made a game since, and they don't need to because their games are that good. So having young developers talk to experts, real experts in the field, to help them make their games, to me, is the best thing.
Yeah, and especially because there's such a good platform for it. Like, this is perfect for upcoming developers. Also, what about you, Jamison? We had a very passionate speech there. No, it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I dig what both of you guys said, especially Louis. Like, I mean, he was just kind of going in right there. I'm not gonna lie, but you guys are a little bit more educated on the topic than I am, because kind of reverse of Louis. Like, I'm kind of a console flip at the moment. I've kind of gone back and forth, but I mean, I like a lot of console games. Just like you, I'm a big Nintendo fanboy as well, so I spend a lot of my time there. But I definitely do agree, because it's almost like I'm a big music guy as well. So it'd be like, okay, we have this record label. Every, say, like hip hop artist that wants to make an album, we're going to make one, and that record label is going to produce it no matter how bad it is, kind of thing. Like it kind of has that vibe where I like good games, and like I could just imagine, say, like the PlayStation Network, like I open up my menu and it's just like flooded with all these games that I just don't care about. Like, that would be annoying. And as much as I love Steam, you guys are exactly right. Like, if I try to find the diamond in the rough, they're like, I'm going to be scrolling for hours. And so it's definitely a good move, I think, on their part. I like the idea in theory, but it just didn't really pan out, I think, how they would have wanted it to.
Yeah, I think there's it's kind of like opening the floodgates. Like, we want Steam to be accessible, but we want it to be accessible to everyone. It's like, great, but we also need some sort of vetting process. Like, we have to make sure that the things that we're distributing are quality. So I think, like what you're saying, you have this oversaturation of a market that's already really, really hard for developers to get noticed in. So while I think the idea was good in its intention, I think the impact on developers, especially those who rely on that kind of niche like publication and being able to reach out to a dedicated audience of people who could really help them get the support that they need, I feel like that kind of it's like a double-edged sword. And we kind of see it with the current state of how Steam's library is. I mean, it's so hard to keep that kind of thing under control when you release the limitations placed there to keep things in control.
Yeah. I'm looking over Valve's and Steam's announcement that they made about this. So they're saying how one thing about Steam Greenlight is it's free. Anyone can do it. So with Steam Direct, their idea is developers will pay a fee to get their game on the Steam store. That way, someone who's serious, if you're serious, you're going to put money up. And they're looking at prices as low as $100 from as high as 5,000. So, and even, I'm not going to say 5,000 obviously a lot of money, but it's in comparison to how much games cost to make. Like, it's not that much. It's just another part of your, and that's on the high end. It's probably going to be way lower than that, but it's just a small fee to put on your budget for making your game. And it's enough, hopefully it'll be enough money to where only people who are serious will pay for it, but it won't be too high where no one wants to do it, or low, or like young up and coming people won't want to do it. Right. So that's what I'm hoping.
Yeah. And I'm hoping too that cost barrier is going to make at least some developers really consider, like, well, I'm not really that serious and I just kind of wanted to make a free buck, So if they have that initial upfront cost, like, they're not going to make that return on investment, so it's not worth it anymore. So that's what I'm hoping. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens when they do kill off Greenlight and switch it over to Direct. So that'll be something to keep an eye out. I mean, Jamison, unfortunately, probably won't be as excited.
We'll see.
Console peasant.
We'll see.
The console king over here. That's okay.
the console play.
Another thing with the Greenlight I had issue with also, like, or them switching over to the new system. What are they gonna do with all these games that are already on there? Are they just gonna delete them, or are they gonna leave them there? Because if they leave them there, they're still gonna be there, and the problem will still exist of not being able to find games. So there's definitely a lot of stuff that Valve needs to do to filter everything out. Maybe even if they just got a better system for searching for games, would help a lot.
Yeah.
And
because it is really hard to browse games in there, because you can do it, like, you can do a general, like, genre search, but that's not going to get you much. You can do, like, the top sellers, but that's what everyone else is buying, and maybe not something you're interested in, or, you know. I definitely think that there needs to be a more refined search, and I'm kind of wondering how they're going to delete stuff, too, because I feel like even if it's a bad game, and you enter a contract with Steam, or Valve, sorry, they have to keep it up because it's a product.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure somewhere in the contract, I'm sure there's like, hey, we own this a little bit. You know, you're hosting this on our website.
It's garbage.
Like,
goodbye.
It's garbage. Goodbye.
We have a big red button and we call it the garbage button. And
that'd be amazing. There's a little animation that pops up on the computer of the game just falling in the trash.
Yeah. You're searching for a garbage game. Or they just make a genre just called garbage. That would be hilarious.
That would be awesome. You know, that's funny because Steam actually has community tags. You can make your own tag and tag any game you want as that, and if it gets enough votes, that game will be forever tagged as that. So,
ooh,
all you EloChat listeners, if you find a garbage game,
wait,
you know
hold on, wait. We want to
get the pitchforks.
We're just gonna get like a very angry email that's like, I worked really hard on this game, and yeah, maybe I'm not an art student, but I worked really hard on it, and all of a sudden it got tagged with garbage.
Honestly, I think just like Call of Duty will just get flooded with garbage tags. That's what I think will happen anyways.
Oh man, I don't even play Call of Duty. Do you?
I do.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm a old school Call of Duty guy because I started in COD 4. And so I tried to hang around with like the jetpack stuff, and it's just not my cup of tea. They did release Modern Warfare Remastered, which I got it basically just for that. I spent the $80 just for that. So, and I haven't even been playing it a whole lot, honestly. I've been playing a lot of Paragon lately. You know, just kind of different games instead of Call of Duty. I still don't mind the zombies. Like, that's one of my big things. Like last year in Black Ops 3, I'm a big zombies guy, so that kept me entertained. But next year they're supposed to be going back to kind of the old school roots, so we'll see. But it has definitely lost my interest.
Yeah, I know a friend of mine who plays the game competitively, so it's really interesting seeing, like, watching his Twitch and just being like, I have no idea what's going on, but everyone is shooting, everyone is dying. People are
competitive is the only thing that's kept me kind of somewhat into it. Like, I won't play or watch the game unless it's like in the competitive arena of it. So just pubs aren't what they used to be, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, you know, as we were talking about, some games just need that garbage tag. And you just kind of...
Infinite Warfare, it's coming for you. Most disliked video on YouTube, I believe.
I heard that there was like a pretty big negative reaction to the fact that they were bundling it with such a good game.
That's the only way they can sell it, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm actually a pretty big COD fan. My friends call me Edward Gamer Hands still because I am that guy who plays Call of Duty, eats Doritos, gets Taco Bell and Mountain Dew. Like, I am that guy.
Gotta get that XP.
Yeah.
You're like a real life diva.
My thing is mainly zombies. Like, I spend, you can see in my about page at EloTalk. Like, I love zombies. That's my thing.
Zombies is amazing.
I'm probably gonna be getting a zombies tattoo eventually. So
nice.
Like, I get the comic books for the Call of Duty Zombie series. Actually, the issue 3 should be coming to my house in the next few days. So
nice. So basically, we have a nice setup here. We have the 2 Nintendo fanboys. We have 1 console pleb. We have a Final Fantasy and Nintendo nerd, which is myself. And then we have Louis, who's just like everything. So
Yeah.
if you want to talk about Vita, he's got you. If you want to talk about zombies, sure, do it. If you want to talk about Nintendo, okay, that's all of us, I think. So we got it all covered here.
That's what makes this podcast so great.
You know, because you're talking about professional gaming. I'm nowhere. I mean, well, let's be real. I'm really good at League of Legends. You know, super good. That bronze shine. No, I'm not bronze, but that bronze shine is like super. Like it matches my skin tone. It just kind of gives me a nice glow. You know, so I don't think I'll be seeing the professional stage anytime soon. But really cool developments is that NBA is actually picking up an esports league, which I think is awesome. I mean, I watch a lot of football. I enjoy basketball here and there, but I'm more of a football person. But seeing the NBA pick up an actual sports league, like we've been talking, I don't know if you all have had these conversations, but talking about how esports should be a legitimate sport that's recognized by the industry, seeing a huge giant of the industry do this kind of move is the most kind of validating thing in my eyes. Like,
Absolutely.
you know, hey, esports is a thing. We have huge money behind it. Everyone else step up your game because contracts for professional players are going to get into those high millions again. Like, it's going to,
Yeah.
like, Bjergsen and all the, I just know league players, but like, I'm sure they're excited because that means money.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's been a lot of NBA players buying into it individually. And obviously guys like Shaq, I think he's bought into Energy, and then Rick Fox has his Echo Fox squad. So the NBA thing is really interesting because basically what they're planning to do is in 2018, they want to have every team have their own esports team. And so basically you'd have 30 teams. Each player would play their own person. So you'd have a team of 5. It'd basically be like in League, like you would have, say, the center of their team is, you know, would be like the equivalent to like, oh, I jungle or I run top lane or whatever you do. It would basically be like that where there's going to be a draft and you're like, okay, this guy's a pretty good center player. I'm going to, you know, pull him on the team, and they'll have their own avatars based off their own skills. So it's going to be really interesting. They said that in the first year, they're only expecting like half the league to adopt it. But the goal in the years following is going to be to have all those teams. They'll have a regular season. They'll have a postseason. They'll have a championship. They're going to have quarters, half times, basically everything. And it's all going to be played in arena on the big screen. I'm looking forward to it. It'll take a couple years to blow up, I think. The first year will be pretty popular, but I think it'll take a few years to actually fill some seats and to get some stuff going on there, because we know that esports are kind of blowing up. Like I often watch eLeague on TV. It's pretty neat to see kind of coming to that side. Like I can turn on my TV in the living room now and I've got CSGO, and who knows, maybe now ESPN will start picking up some NBA stuff, because it's a nice crossover to have an actual sport game be an esport. I think it's a great segue into esports personally.
Mm-hmm. And what about you, Louis?
Really the only esports that I cared about ever was, guess what? Call of Duty, which I
that was a really hard guess for me on my end.
I know, right? I know, because I've been following Call of Duty for a while. Modern Warfare 2 is kind of when I got into the competitive scene of Call of Duty and like researching people and stuff. And when Modern Warfare 3 came out, I know that's when that's when I feel like more people started learning about competitive gaming in general, because you have one of the biggest games of all time entering the esports arena with Modern Warfare 3, and I thought that was cool. I mean, these last 3 CODs, I believe, have really taken a nosedive in terms of people caring at all. Maybe with this introduction to, like you say, the NBA thing and other games, hopefully maybe we'll get Call of Duty back, because this year's Call of Duty is supposed to be not bad, which is surprising. So we'll see. A lot of this episode is we'll see. It might be.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it kind of is. I mean, talk about the Switch, well, it's not out yet, so we'll see. I mean, talking about Greenlight and a new system, well, we'll see. I don't know. Talking about eLeague, I don't know. It's not up yet, so we'll see. So I guess we can give at the end of our episode, we can each give our overarching predictions for how things are going to go for this year. But for me personally, the only professional gaming scene that I follow is League of Legends, and that's only because I played it. I'm so bad at shooters. It's terrible. Like it took me forever to get through BioShock Infinite, and that was an easy game. Like like it's pretty bad. But I think and plus like sports games, like I don't know if I'd rather watch the real sport, just in my opinion, because I like to. It's cool to like meet the players and see those people and interact with them in that kind of way. And that's just me, and that's just how I like it. And I know that some people don't, and that's cool. Like to each their own, you know. But I think for me, just seeing it get picked up by the NBA is a huge indicator that we're going to see a lot of growth in this like upcoming sector of professional sports, but not in traditional sports or quote unquote traditional sports, but seeing it in gaming. And what I'm actually really interested in is seeing how, like, I'm thinking of like my dad, who's a really huge sports person, and thinking about like, I wonder if this will encourage him to play video games. You know, like how cool would that be? And just seeing the audience of people who are like, you know what, like I love sports and I love, you know, video games, and maybe I'm not at the physical ability to partake in basketball regularly, but I can at least play a game and use my knowledge of what I know of the sport to a game, and seeing where that takes people. I don't know. That's just my thought. I think it's really awesome that the NBA is picking up on this, and I'm looking forward to seeing how big the scene could grow from a big investment like this, because money talks, and NBA's got it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you even have these players, like this isn't even the league, this is just the players. They're, you know, shoveling, you know, 7, 10, 15 million into these esports orgs just themselves. And to have an organization like the NBA, that would just be incredible. Like, they make so much money, especially lately.
Yeah.
They've had, you know, their salary caps and their teams are just blowing up every year. It seems like dudes are making like $200 million over the course of like 5 years, and just like crazy stuff like that. It's stupid. But it's weird because like I'm a big basketball fan. Like that's my go-to. But I'm not even as big into like sports games as I used to be. They kind of fell off a little bit for me. But like 2K is like such just like a casual game. Like you'll have guys over and you'll play 2K 16 or 17, whatever game you have. And that's just one where you get the bros together, you put it on the TV. It's just a very casual kind of behind the scenes thing. And to move that into competitive, it's a really nice segue. As I said, that's kind of what Call of Duty did for me. Like I played Call of Duty casually, and then I saw, you know, around the Modern Warfare 3 era, oh, there's a competitive side to it, because everybody buys Call of Duty every year, no matter what. Same thing with 2K. It's just a nice kind of starter place. So, you know, Call of Duty got me more into like League of Legends competitively, CSGO competitively, you know, things I would have never really expected to get into. So it's a nice starting point, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I'm super excited, as I said, to just kind of see where it goes. I mean, as you're saying, like those NBA players are making some serious money. So with the individual backings of players that are setting a really good precedent for starting the benchmark at like that $7 million to $10 million range for teams, I think that's really healthy to kind of show the support that like people see this as a legitimate thing, and it deserves to have money, because I mean, for me, like looking at Worlds for League of Legends, like that's a huge event, and that could draw in so much money, and it could get even bigger if people were willing to treat it as a sport. So I'm excited to see what that looks like. And you know, speaking of people that have like $1 million, like if those basketball players want to use some of their funding to do something cool, they could always go to our Patreon, EloTalk Patreon, and donate money. Hey, see what I say?
Slick.
But
Slick.
speaking of, if people do want to support the work that our community does, if you go to patreon.com/elotalk, we are taking donations from the community to help keep us doing the work that we do here. If you go to our main website, elotalk.com, we have articles that come out daily about all sorts of different things. I think we had recent articles about the Yu-Gi-Oh! Mobile game that's out. We're doing Pokemon Go coverage. We do professional esports coverage. We do upcoming new titles. We do reviews. All sorts of great media by our wonderful just plethora of community writers that join us. And I, as an editor, have to look through them and add commas, so that's fun. But if you want to support those folks, support this podcast, we encourage you to go to patreon.com/eLtalk and become a patron. We have a wide variety of rewards that you can tap into, and we love your support. We definitely appreciate the support that we've gotten from folks thus far. So as I said, again, that's patreon.com/elotalk, and I did a really smooth plug there, and I'm really proud of myself.
That was impressive. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
You say 1 out of 1. Hey, a 1 out of 1 is still an A+, so I'll take that.
Yeah, man.
But we are kind of getting close to our time. But before we go, as I said earlier, I kind of want to see, just kind of going down the three things that we talked about today. What are your predictions for this year? What is it going to look like for Nintendo? What's it going to look like for esports? And what's it going to look like for developers on Steam? What are your thoughts? We'll start with Louis.
So my predictions for Nintendo Switch is, I think it'll be good. I don't think we're gonna see Wii numbers, but I think we're gonna get fairly close. And I think the main thing that's holding it back is games and battery life. Those are the two biggest things in my opinion. Then for esports, I'm not really into esports too much, but I'm hoping that the NBA thing will help, because I know that a lot of people are, and it's a huge market, and there's so much money to be made. It's just, I feel like what's holding it back is semantics. It's people not agreeing on what a sport is. I think once people just get past that, there's so much money to be made here. Just come on, guys. Just get over it. Call it whatever. Make a new word. Who cares? Just get it on in the mainstream. For the Greenlight thing, yeah, I'm pretty sure Steam Direct will clean up the garbage that is Greenlight. But I don't know how well it'll do. There's definitely a lot of behind the scenes stuff that Valve needs to do in terms of either getting rid of old games or funneling them into their own little section or whatever it is. There's work to be done. I think Valve can do it. They definitely have the money to do it. And the support of the community for sure, because PC players worship Steam. Like, that's Lord Gaben. Like, that's our guy. So I think it'll be good.
Very true. What about you, Jamison?
Yeah, I mean, for the Switch, I think it's going to get a lot of positive reviews, especially coming after the Wii U, which I think we, for the most part, can agree was a little bit of a letdown coming after the Wii. It really depends to me, like, how well some of these launch titles do. Like, I will say the one kind of like chink in the armor right now is for, I think it was for 1-2 Switch, that little kind of party thing that's coming out for them. Mm-hmm. It's getting some kind of poor reviews and a little bit of a negative response. It's got quite a bit like the ratio to dislikes is not that great on that video, and a lot of people are like, you think they would learn from all the Wii Sports stuff and whatever, but it doesn't affect me because, you know, I'm going to be playing Zelda, I'm going to be playing Mario, I'm going to be playing Shovel Knight, just all the weird stuff, Sonic. So I think it's going to do well. I think it really depends on this first week. Once people start getting it in their hands, getting those reviews up, and we start seeing a lot of gameplay, you know, we have some like that charging glitch that kind of is put out there right now. We'll see if it's a day one patch. I think it's going to do a lot better than the Wii U. Like you said, not necessarily Wii numbers, because that was just insane. Like I couldn't get a Wii for months. But I do think it's going to be a lot more successful than the Wii U. I think it'll get some positive views for esports. Like I said, the eLeague doesn't necessarily kick in until about 2018, but I think over the course of this off season, and the NBA will probably start hearing a lot about that, getting players kind of ready to go for it, because usually around October we get a new 2K game. I think end of September, early October. So they'll probably be pushing some stuff for the next 2K game to get people prepared for that. And then for Greenlight, I don't think I really need to go at it as much as Louis did, because I think he pretty much gave it everything it needed. But I do agree that it's nice to kind of be moving away from that, and the damage has already kind of been done to the Steam library. I do hope they kind of go through and clean some stuff up, just because it's a mess right now, and I'm not even on Steam as often as some of you guys might be. So yeah. Overall, I'm pumped for the eLeague. I'm pumped to eventually get my hands on the Switch, play some Zelda, and Greenlight. You know, like I said, not the most educated on it, but I think they're moving in the right direction.
So I totally agree with like most of what everyone's been saying so far. I think the Switch is going to launch fantastically. Just based off of pre-order numbers, I think it's going to do really well. They're going to see some really solid returns, especially if they compare it to the Wii U, which, I mean, we've all said this throughout the entire cast, like the Wii U just did not do well. And it set this, I think the only thing that's going to hold it back, another thing that's going to hold it back, is the fact that it has this really negative precedent of the Wii U. So Nintendo has to work double hard to get their market back and convince people that they can still innovate and create things for gamers and families and people that enjoy their products to trust them with a new system. So I think that it'll still sell really well. I also agree, I don't think we're going to see Wii numbers just because of how technology works these days. The Wii came out at a really great time for technological innovation in gaming in that kind of way. And they kind of took it and ran with it. And I don't think the Switch really had that oomph, but they did get that swoop of hype because of how well that they kind of picked up and learned from their mistakes with the Wii U and have done something new. So I'm excited for that. I also think that Zelda being a launch title game is going to do a lot for the sales, because Jamison, myself, like, we're talking about buying a Wii U just because Zelda is on it. And I think that's going to be a lot of people's feelings, and we'll see how third-party developers kind of integrate with the library. As far as Greenlight, we were talking about giving things tags. I think Greenlight has earned its garbage tag for the night. And, I think it's definitely a good sign. I mean, especially with all the videos, like Total Biscuit made a video about how oversaturated the Steam market is. Lots of other big YouTubers and gaming YouTubers have talked about how Steam really needs to step up their management of their product. And I think that Direct will give them that kick to take a serious look at their library and do something different. So I'm looking forward to seeing them clean it up, and I think with that front-loaded cost of working with them to put a game up on the library, we're going to see, and Louis touched on this earlier, I think we're going to see more quality things get introduced to the market, but it's that question of what are they going to do with the stuff that's already there. So I think Direct as a system is going to work. I'm just curious how they're going to kind of backpedal with what Greenlight and the community openness has done for Steam already. And then for esports, I'm also not as super educated in esports, but I think that with NBA giving such big dollars and time to esports, I think that we're going to see a shift in how people talk about esports. I think this is finally the time where we're going to see those semantics get kind of broken down. Nice, broken down. I think we're going to see those semantics kind of get discussed more seriously and kind of shifting how people view esports. And people are going to use that as conversations like, what I'm really excited for, I really want to see, like esports bars. I want more of those. Like, come on. Like,
Oh, that would be so incredible.
I want more of those. Like, I would pay money, please. Like, alcohol, food, and esports. Like, come on.
Those are all three of my favorite things.
They're like Prince money. Hello. So I'm really excited to see how those semantics and community and everything around esports kind of changes and evolves as we get, as Jameson was saying, into 2018. So I'm really excited. And I think that 2017 is looking pretty solid. So with the last bit of time that we got, I want you all to say one thing that that's been catching your eye, or something that you're looking forward to in gaming right now. I'll go first, actually, this time. Horizon Zero Dawn looks really fun, and I almost want to buy a PS4 at the same time. And this is so bad, because like I already am going to spend money on the Wii U, so it's like, my budget. But Horizon Zero Dawn looks really good, and I am looking forward to seeing more of it, because I've been following that for a while, and I saw it at PAX West last year. So I'm looking forward to seeing more of that.
I guess I'll go next. Obviously, other than Zelda, since that's right around the corner. Again, going back to some Nintendo fanboy, I'll probably have to pick Super Mario Odyssey. When I saw that trailer for the first time, I was kind of losing my mind, because some of my favorite Mario games, obviously Super Mario 64, Mario Sunshine is another one, and Super Mario Odyssey kind of gives me that Sunshine vibe, which I'm a really big fan of. And so, seeing, plus it's like set in New York City. It's like this, it's a completely different thing from Mario, and kind of goes away from the more linear approach of the more typical Mario games. And so to see that, it really piqued my interest. That's probably the next one I'm looking forward to.
That hat is so creepy, though.
Right? It kind of is. Like when it popped up the eyes for the first time, I was like, whoa, that took it to a place I was not expecting. But I can't even be mad.
Yeah, for me this year, guess what? Call of Duty news. Not the new Call of Duty. Black Ops 3 rumored DLC 5 for us in the zombies community, especially on like the COD Zombie subreddit, has been theorizing that there'll be a DLC 5 since Black Ops 3 was announced, pretty much. And now it seems like these rumors are becoming more and more true, which would be crazy, because Call of Duty life cycles are usually like 8 to 10 months and that's it. But Black Ops 3 is way over that, and if it can deliver a DLC 5, more zombie maps, I'll be super happy, because I have a lot of hours in zombies and I'm kind of obsessed with zombies story. I mean, I might get a tattoo of zombies. If you guys haven't realized, I like the game. So
I think you like it. This one doesn't get the garbage tag. Thank God.
This definitely not a garbage tag. No garbage tag for Call of Duty Zombies.
Nice. It's pass. It got a 1 out of 1. Nice job.
1 out of 1.
Well, thank you guys for joining me on this first episode of the new format of EloChat. I enjoyed having you all on here. It was really fun. And like I said to those listening, be sure to visit our Patreon, patreon.com/EloTalk. Be sure to visit our home site, which is elotalk.com, if you want to read more about articles, get into our archives of our podcasts, and kind of see what we're doing over there. See if you want to become a community member. We have a Discord, Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere. You can find us everywhere. And like I said, thank you all again for coming. Be sure to check out their podcasts as well. And yeah, like I said, we will be here in early April to talk about what's been going on in March, and hopefully our predictions come true. If not, oh well, 0 out of 1. But thanks again, guys, for coming.